Hey YouTube. So as many as you know, I have a cat named Houdini, who's like right down here. Hold on a second. Say hi, Houdini. So there's Houdini, everyone. Okay. So as all of you know, my cat Houdini and I were just wondering, what is he? Well, we know he's a cat, but we're wondering exactly what type of breed of cat he is, because by his intelligence, he seems to be like he'd be a Siamese or maybe a snowshoe or something, and especially with his meows and just his temperament. So I know I've ordered like a Ancestry 23andMe kit for myself, so I decided to add one for him, but I did the cat version, which is going to be Basepaws. So I did get one for him, and the results are very um, surprising. So from what I found out about Houdini is he's not what I expected him to be. Weirdy. So take a look at him right here. Here, boy. D. Hi. Hey there, kid. Hi. Yes. Is that the camera? Okay, so based on the results that I got from Basepaws is so hold on 2 seconds because he's starting to walk away. Here, Houdini, come on. So Basepaws basically gives you off of 4 different types of things. So they give you the Western breeds, the Eastern, exotic, and like the Persian types. So, with Houdini, so I'm gonna read off the notes because I wrote it down. Uh, with Houdini, so hold on a second. He's laying down right now. Say hi, Houdini. Say hi, kid. Based off of what I found out, which was very surprising to me, is he actually has no Siamese whatsoever. So that was very surprising. But what I did find out in his Western breed, he's actually 41% Mancoon. And that is beyond surprising because, first of all, he's very small. Well, very small for a male cat, and especially the cats in the area, because he was technically a stray when we found him. Someone we ended up finding later that the people that had him just let him go, but basically he comes from a community of cats in the area that just basically bred and bred and bred. So basically he comes from a community of cats in the area that just lost straight kittens and all that stuff. But eventually we found someone who did have him take him in, just let him loose, whatever. So we ended up adopting him. But yeah, he's 41% Mancoon. Like, I could not even believe that. He is the size of maybe a female's cat on the smaller side, so which is really surprising. So, getting to the Eastern cat in him, he's also so his Eastern cat is 8.5% Peterbald, which the Peterbald is going to be the bald cats, sort of like the Sphinx, but not exactly. So he's 8.5% of a Peterbald, which to me was very surprising, but to other family members, they had some idea because of, I don't know, that's the way he looks in the face. Okay, so the next one is really surprising as well. His exotic cat that he has, which is going to be 6.2% of him, is going to be the Savannah. So he is the Savannah cat, is 6.2% Savannah. So that's the exotic breed in him. So that is what he has for the exotic one, which I don't know, like I could see it, especially when I looked it up and I saw some videos on it. So as right now, I can see a lot of the Mancoon behavior in the Savannah. So next is the Persian breeds. So when it comes to this, I could see so the Persian breeds, he has 12% Himalayan. So when it comes to the Himalayan, he has like that coat, that like a couple, like I'm not sure if you call it 2-layer or undercoat or what it is, but I can see that, especially because he is not brachycephalic at all, but he is not having the normal square face that comes out. He's like that in between, like that puggle cat. Like if he was part brachycephalic and part regular, he has like that puggle snout. but for a cat version where it's not long, like the regular size long cat snout, like the regular snout, but it's not brachycephalic like it is with the Persian or Himalayan. It's like the in-between phase. And it can explain a lot of his like allergies or some of the stuff he has to take, like sometimes like his seasonal allergies or difficulties when he gets more likely to get his upper respiratory problems. Okay, so that's what he got for the specifics. He did have, though, 32.2% polycat, which polycat is like for Basepaws, because this was done in Basepaws, is Basepaws polycat is basically a mixed breed of cats that isn't going to have any specific markers which can have them to be able to distinguish one from the other. So for him, it's going to be 32.2%. Okay, something I did find interesting is what his wildcat would be. So he has 4 wildcats. The first one is which is he going to be the closest related to based on his own DNA, which for him, the closest one is going to be the cheetah. I mean, I can see it because he likes to run around a lot. I mean, he has like this big, huge spurts of energy, like constantly all over the place. So I could see that one. So that would be one for the wildcat. Let's just see. The next one I would have thought was going to be his first one, just because he has this like attitude like it, or this way he walks, would be the cougar. So that is his second highest. So that's going to be the wildcat. For that's number 2 is going to be the cougar. For him, the next one is going to be the leopard, which, I mean, I could see it. I could see that one as well, but I could see more likely I could see the other 2 in there. And then the fourth one, that's going to be like his fourth one in there, is going to be the tiger. So I could see the tiger a lot. So the ones I could see out of the 4, which the highest ranked for him is the wildcat, is going to be the cheetah. The second highest is the cougar. I could definitely see those 2. Leopard I could see, but not as much. The tiger I can see definitely. I was very surprised when he didn't get anything like a panther or something along those lines, or a lion. Definitely didn't get one of those. Okay, so Basepaws also does something which tells you if he's at risk of getting a genetic disorder or higher a risk of getting a genetic disorder. So one tells you if he's possible at risk. The other one tells you if he is definitely at risk of getting it. The wind is blowing. So what I did is I looked over there and just wrote down basically, I'm not going to go through the whole list, but so his at risk in general is going to be 0. So he doesn't have an at risk. So he doesn't have at risk at all for that. He doesn't have a high at risk. Is going to be 0 as well. So something they also include in there is if he's a carrier. So Houdini has a carrier gene for only one thing that was described in Basepaws genetic testing, which only one thing that they tested for. I believe they checked maybe for 20 to 30 some different disorders, but he has a genetic carrier for, I think it's pyrrhotite kinases deficiency of basically erythrocyte, which is a red blood cell. Basically, it's an inherited metabolic disorder that disrupts the survival of his erythrocyte cells, which is the red blood cells. Basically, it kills them off earlier. So basically, when they're produced, it's going to be basically not letting it survive the normal amount of time it's supposed to. And yeah, so he doesn't have that. It's just that if he was ever going to say to have kittens, and just say if that would be something that'd be for them to be inherited from him. So, but he's not going to have any kittens. But if he just ever did, that would be something that they could possibly get from him. So that's Houdini for you. So we got our little, hold on a second. Done him. So right here is our little Himalayan. Is that Houdini? Our little Himalayan, our little Peter bald, little bald cat. Our Savannah. And our Himalayan Savannah, Peterbald, Mancoon. He's also our cheetah, cougar. I was getting away like a cougar. So page, our leopard, and our tiger. So this is all our wildcat right here. So cheetah, leopard, tiger, and cougar. Okay, so I wanted to say basically that the Basepaws thing was something interesting that I thought I would just try out. And basically to me, I thought it was very interesting. So I do highly recommend it because they also do keep live updates for something if it does change. So yeah, so that's Houdini in a nutshell. Though some of his results are really surprising, basically just because I thought definitely he would get something like a Siamese just based on his personality and his physical traits. Though apparently that's not the trait. That's not going to be something that he is. Though he's a little mix of everything, and basically with a polycat, he is going to be a bigger mix. Anyway, so yeah, that's my Houdini for you.